Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to That's Football. This is your latest transfer news and it's really hotting up. We said this at the start of the week, it's probably been a bit slow, but players are starting to come back from international duty. We're expecting official Declan Rice to Arsenal today. Long delays on that, but ultimately he never would have been back in training until tomorrow for West Ham anyway, so what does it matter? Liverpool now in the race for Caicedo, according to a report that's just come out from Talk Sport. Manchester United still in the race for Harry Kane. Chelsea looking at Neymar. Lots to get into on the show this morning. Fasten your seatbelts. I'm actually going to start off with this story. I was going to start off with the Kane story, but we'll start off with the Liverpool story. If they offload Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, they've definitely got to go out and buy at least one holding midfielder. They'd be massively short in that area if they did lose Fabinho and Henderson, but the money's so good they could get 60 million combined for the pair, and that changes the landscape of Liverpool's transfer window very, very quickly. I was talking about this on the United Stand this morning, actually. Financial fair play is almost out of the window at the moment. If you tap into the Saudi Arabian market, and why wouldn't you do that, you can almost boost your transfer budget by 50, 60 million quid easily, because they will overpay for players that you will struggle to get rid of in Europe. So Liverpool's summer transfer window changes massively if they can offload Henderson and Fabinho. Now, you'd think that would be the path to Lavia, and it may well be, but TalkSport are saying that Liverpool would enter the race for Caicedo if they could raise that much money for Fabinho and Henderson. And why not? Why wouldn't you enter that race? Why wouldn't you go for a player like that? So, I mean, this could be a game changer. I really do think that if teams have a good season, if Liverpool and Chelsea, for example, have good seasons, we could be looking back at this at Christmas or in the new year and saying, Saudi Arabia, if this whole Saudi Arabian football madness, with the transfer fees didn't exist, then where would Liverpool and Chelsea be this season? They're the two clubs at the moment that could potentially really take advantage. And Liverpool would not be buying Caicedo if they didn't have these potential deals to do with Saudi Arabia. So keep your eye on that. Liverpool fans maybe a week or two ago were thinking, will we buy a holding midfielder? Now it looks like you'll offload players that you want to offload to bring in some really exciting players or player. Keep an eye on that one. Harry Kane. So Jan Åge Fjørtoft, who, look, is a journalist, former footballer, has reasonable sources. I'm not saying, reasonable, speaks to a lot of people, especially in the European scene. Good around the Bundesliga. He's been talking about Bayern Munich, and that's an option for Harry Kane if he wants to take it. We believe that Bayern Munich are actually sitting down to have conversations with Spurs. That's not officially been confirmed yet, but if that's progressing to talks with Spurs, it feels like Spurs might be open to a deal. But Jan Åge Fjørtoft saying that Harry Kane's camp still feel that Man United's an option. As a Man United fan, I'm very intrigued by that. I would say I don't know how that can be an option. We take a month to negotiate £2 or £3 million differences on deals like Onana and Mount. Where would we find £100 million for Harry Kane? And where is the evidence that we would be happy to pay £100 million for Harry Kane, who's got 1 year left on his contract? So, but having said that, this is the same Man United that found 85 million for Anthony in the last week of the window last year. So you never know where United might find some money from. So keep an eye on that. My only observation on this is, and look, obviously I think Harry Kane at Bayern Munich, Man United, Chelsea would be a revelation. My only observation is Tottenham. This happened with Gareth Bale, obviously, but if you get a big influx of cash for a player that's clearly head and shoulders your star player, would you not want to be using that money now? Like, if you sell Harry Kane, pre-season started, how impactful does that have on your season next year if you don't have a plan? And Spurs seem to do this quite a lot. They grind deals down to late in the window. And all right, Levy might get the money he wants, but how impactful is that on the actual team that doesn't get a replacement in, and the quality of that replacement, and the season's already started? So I just feel that if Spurs are going to commit and sell Harry Kane, surely it's in their interest to get on with it and do it quick. But, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Yeah, Declan Rice officially to Arsenal. Don't really have much to say about that. I mean, one of the interests, I'm not massively into stats, because I think, Onana into stats are not as amazing as people think they are, but that's Serie A, that's Inter. I think he'll be a very different goalkeeper with the attributes that he's got in the Premier League. And Declan Rice at West Ham will be a very different player, Declan Rice at Arsenal. But one of the things that does stand out is that in the Premier League last year, he was in the top 5 for ball carries. Now, that doesn't mean he picks the ball up and gives a handball. It's like when you get the ball and you progress with the ball. And I think that's impressive in a West Ham side, his confidence in a side that's not really that expressive to get the ball and carry the ball. Declan Rice, I think, is a fantastic player. The price is probably too much, but I don't see... £100 million is always too much for Jack Grealish and Declan Rice, but I don't necessarily think people will talk about it because I think they will do well. They're overpriced, but I think they will do well. Chelsea are monitoring the situation of Brazil forward Neymar. This is coming in from Le Parisien in France. Keep an eye on that. Neymar probably will leave PSG. Would he come to the Premier League? Would it be a good signing for Chelsea? For me, I wouldn't be 100% sure about Neymar, whoever I was. But what I would say is that I'd love to see Neymar in the Premier League. I mean, it's funny, I said this about Onana. I'd love to, when Chelsea were linked to Onana, I was like, I'd love to watch Onana at Chelsea. He's such a box office player. The fact that he's going to come to United is just fantastic. But if Neymar came to the Premier League at Newcastle or Chelsea, it would be an addition for the Premier League. Whether it'll happen or not, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I was talking about this before. Brazilian players, Brazil's not in Europe. They by their very nature, Brazilian players have to be very transient. They come to Europe because of the money, because of the status, because it's a bigger prestige. I think Brazilian players have played in China, they played in Russia, the MLS. They'll be playing in Saudi Arabia. I just wonder if Neymar to Saudi Arabia might happen. I can't see him staying at PSG, but then it's hard to predict where Neymar would go next. The Premier League would be... I'd love to see Neymar in the Premier League, but the question is, would I like to see Neymar at Manchester United? And I think there's a large yes, but then there is a large question mark around it, isn't there, as well? So, interesting if anything happens with that. Talking about Saudi Arabia, Mahrez could be heading there as well. Well, I spoke about this yesterday. I do have my concerns about players that go to Saudi Arabia that are still really good players, because I want them to be playing in the most competitive tournaments like the Premier League and the Champions League. If they want to go and earn money, it's their decision. It's out of our control. It's their decision to go and do it, whether you're Jordan Henderson, Steven Gerrard, Ronaldo. If you want to go and play in Saudi Arabia and earn ridiculous money, that's their decision to make. I do feel a bit sad about it, because I think that you want to see these players playing in the competitive leagues, and with all due respect, the Saudi Arabian league will not be anywhere near quality wise what we have in the Champions League. But Mahrez has been linked to it for a while now, and I just think the big decision some of these players have to make now is that the money is so massive. It's so massive, and they make massive money anyway. But a lot of footballers have egos. A lot of footballers are greedy. Not all of them. I'm just saying, a lot of people have egos. A lot of people are greedy. So you're going to get it in footballers. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some footballers who see a Jordan Henderson or somebody being offered 500 grand a week and go, I want to go and get 600 grand a week for a couple of years. So I just think that's always going to happen. And it's funny, I said it a few weeks ago, when it's not going to be just Ronaldo, Kante and Benzema. It's not going to be great players at the end of their careers going to Saudi Arabia. They've got a plan to bring in younger players, and lo and behold, that's what's happened over the last few weeks. Just on a more positive Premier League note, Aston Villa, Moussa Diaby, French winger, Bayer Leverkusen, keep an eye on that. They've also been linked to Brennan Johnson from Forest as well. Keep an eye on Villa in general. They're making some really good signings. Emery didn't have a pre-season. He only came in halfway through the season. Didn't make any signings, really. I think Villa are a team to watch. Interestingly, I saw on TalkSport a bet between Alex Crook and Jim White that one of them said Newcastle will finish above Villa. The other said Villa will finish above Newcastle. I think it's intriguing. I really... Who do you think finishes above each other? I think too many people sleep on Newcastle, but I think don't sleep on Villa. And that's the danger that the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Man Utds, the Chelseas have. The Brightons and the Villas and the Newcastles are still going to be major threats next season. Anyway, get your comments in below. Lots to get your teeth into there. And don't forget to smash a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 1 million subscribers, by the way. We need to push that. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and smash a like. I'll speak to you on the next one.